Hi everyone. Welcome to the recap book. Today we'll recap the supernatural horror thriller Antlers. Please sit back and enjoy.
The story opens up in a dark mine where a father is working on a medicinal project. His son, named Lucas, is waiting for him outside the mine when he notices a horrific noise. He shouts, and his father consoles him by saying that the voices of them working inside. There is not an unusual thing nearby. He asks him to wait for him in the truck until he finishes the work. They also plan to visit his younger brother, Aiden. However, after some time, he also notices the growling sounds and points their guns to aim at the suspect. They shoot them thinking an animal is outside, but an extremely terrific creature pulls Lucas' father aside. Lucas's father is stuck with the creature. It seems that the creature tears his body apart. The scene changes 3 weeks later when Julia, Lucas' school teacher, asks the class to share the fables or myths. She encourages Lucas to participate and share something, but he refuses. The teacher can see him drawing sketches and formulating a story. Some bullies are seen who are behind Lucas, and they try to mock him most often. Lucas keeps ignoring them and keeps the annoying toy in his bag, which the bullies use to haunt him. Lucas is a bit introverted and a silent child, so he silently measured his way home. On the way home, Lucas covers his way through rocky tunnels and finds a hare sniffing between the stones. He picks up a stone and hunts it instantly. He enters the home with the dripping blood of the dead animal and places his ears near a locked door. He finds the growling sounds coming out of it. On the other hand, Julia seems depressed to recall her childhood traumas. Her brother Paul, a police officer, tries to calm her by talking about her new job, a school teacher. She is happy with her job, but her traumas still haunt her. Lucas is sitting on the couch with an old picture of his family. He seems scared and frustrated, so he takes out the annoying toy and cuts it into pieces to ward off his frustration. The next morning, Lucas is again forced to share a story, so he stands up and finally speaks loudly. He exclaims that 3 bears live together, and one day, Big Brother starts behaving weirdly out of nowhere. After a few days, one of the baby bears also started the same growling and haunting sounds. The blood of both these bears turned black, and the 3rd bear was very scared. Julia appreciates his story, and the bell rings. She finds the story disturbing and takes him for a routine checkup. Julia calls Lucas home, but a mysterious angry creature is seen licked in a room, but no one picks up the call. The bullies again humiliate Lucas after class, but he doesn't say a word. Instead, he runs through an ice cream shop and starts cherishing the time when he used to have ice cream with his family. Julia notices and takes him in. She involves him in small talk and asks about his brother Aiden, who was a student at the same school. Lucas seems a bit off while talking about his brother. Julia probes questions about his dad and brother, which offends him, and he leaves the place. He also warns her to avoid following him all the time. On the way home, Lucas finds a dead animal with half-cut body and takes it home. On the other hand, Julia travels to his home to check on him, but finds loud panting and growling voices and gets scared. She rushes back home while Lucas is busy picking up the parts of the animal. She seems suspicious about Lucas and takes his drawings from the school. After accumulating its parts, she finds a horrible monster eating a young boy. She is so concerned about him. At the same time, Paul comes in and puts his hand on her shoulder, which scares her very much. They talk about Lucas and then shift to Julia, who wants to live on her own, but Paul negates the choice of leaving this house. Lucas cut the animals into further small pieces and put them in a tray. He takes the plates into the locked room and puts them on the ground. Suddenly his father, in a monstrous form, rushes in and starts eating them. Also, Aiden comes forward and starts eating the same flesh. His father has turned into a complete monster, but Aiden is not. He let them eat the flesh and locked the door again. It is revealed that his father got infected by the creature in the mine and then infected his brother as well. Lucas is taking care of them in a locked room. Julia talks to Paul about Lucas and his father's criminal record, but he advises her to keep a distance from his house. Then, Julia mentions the unusual voices which he heard. On the other hand, Lucas is ignoring the sounds of Aiden, who is demanding food again. The next morning, Julia talks to the principal about the disturbing drawings of Lucas. They discuss taking Lucas to the doctor and monitoring his mental health. Paul finds a half-cut human in the woods and the other half near the mine. They consider the bear or some monstrous animal who did that. Lucas is talking to his half-infected brother and notices the black blood coming from his mouth and eyes. Paul finds the human teeth on the dead body, but they are not sure about the predator. Lucas' school principal visits his father to talk about his disturbing drawings while Lucas is in the school. He carves a monster from the wooden block, and Julia is stressed about him. In the meantime, the principal is home and finds the door open. She sneaks in and finds the locked room. She finds Aiden there and feels sympathetic for him. However, the monster rushes in and throws her away. He bit her hand and stabbed her neck, making her immovable. She is dead, and the monster is happy to have a hearty meal today, although he starts trembling and his ribs are blinking with shine. Suddenly, a large monster comes out of his mouth after tearing apart his body. On the other hand, Lucas is hurting himself with the claws of the carved monster. While moving home, a bully interrupted his way. He apologizes, but he is stubborn. Finally, however, the monster comes out of nowhere and tears apart his body into pieces. Lucas rushes home, panting and scared, and finds the principal's car outside his house. He understands that a calamity is waiting for him. He finds his monstrous father and Aiden missing from the room and blood spots all over the corridor. He is crying, but he has to clear up all the mess. He covers the principal's car and scratches all the blood spots from the corridor. In the meantime, Paul finds a missing report from the principal's husband and talks about it with Julia. She suspects that there is something off in Lucas' home, and the principal is also missing after they talk about visiting Lucas. Paul visits Lucas but hides in the corner and avoids opening the gate. Finally, Paul leaves to get a warrant. Julia is so worried about all this, and she finds the chance to visit Lucas's home while he is in class. She finds the principal's car outside his home and instantly calls Paul on the spot. They find the dead body of the principal in the locked room. Shockingly, they also find a rotten skeleton of a man, probably Lucas' father, near her. The monster left his body, and these are the remains of it. Hence, they find the teeth intact and can further prompt their origins. Police raid the house, and it is sealed. Jules welcomes Lucas to his devastated home and calms his crying spells. He is in a severe traumatic condition and can't say anything. He doesn't know about his brother. They take him to the psychiatry department and trace some anxiety and depressive symptoms. They are asked to keep him under observation for the next few nights. Julia is unwilling to leave him alone. Instead, Paul doesn't like her to be involved in such matters. Julia gets emotional and mentions the abuse she observed in her childhood. She never wants to leave a disturbed child alone. On the other hand, Lucas remembers the early days of infection when his father locked himself up in the room. And after a few days, he pulled Aiden in because he was also getting the symptoms of infection. He advises Lucas never to open the lock, no matter what. Paul and Julia take the belongings to a priest, and they are revealed that the monster belongs to the mine. It's an amorphous spirit of a starved peasant who can take many forms and is responsible for devouring mankind. However, he also informs them they can be killed only when they are weaker by stabbing their shiny hearts. Paul seems to disagree with the myth, but Julia is interested. They get a call from another body which is in the same condition. Paul still negates the facts, but Julia is scared about Aiden. She didn't know he could be turned into a monster until now. Hence, they take Lucas out of the hospital to their home. Julia tries to console him by talking about his parents and Aiden. Lucas believes his old father has died, and now the monster is his dad, and they will come for him. He has to feed his brother. On the other hand, Paul's colleague finds a growling voice in the garage and follows it while he is in the mayor's house. He asks him to remain safe, but a monster stabs him from behind and kills him in an instant. Aiden is hiding in the garage, but he is nearly a monster. Julia notices the thrashing sounds and sneaks behind a door with Lucas. She asks him to stay while she is considering calling Paul, but she finds Paul outside the house, moving towards the garage where the monster has already killed his colleague. Paul rushes into the garage and finds him dead but gets attacked from behind. He escapes the attack and thrashes to the door. Luckily, he is not infected, but while escaping the door, he again gets attacked by one of the monstrous claws of the beast. He spares himself by continuously thrashing the claws with a spear, but he gets injured. Lucas rushes out to save his father and brother, and Julia follows. She finds Paul poorly injured and rescues him. She decides to go to the mine to rescue Lucas, but Paul wants to come with her. She takes the gun and injures Paul with him. Hence, she moves to the dark mine with trembling steps and a weaker heart. Eventually, she finds Lucas hiding under a trolley with Aiden, where the monster is eating a bear. They notice her, and the monster rushes towards her. She shoots him several times, but she misses her aims due to the complete darkness. The monster throws her back, but she musters the courage to lighten a spark. Luckily, the monster steps back due to the fire, which reveals that he is afraid of it. She gets the chance and finds a large spear to stab it in his heart. She stabs it in him multiple times until he gets weaker. Once he gets immovable, Julia finds the chance and punctures his shiny heart out of his skeletal body. She is about to smash it, but they notice that Aiden is transforming. He sounds weird, and his body turns shiny with black blood pouring out. Julia wants to kill him because she knows this is the only chance. Lucas interrupts and asks her to spare his life. He thinks that Aiden can get better one day, but Julia consoles him. She takes the knife and hugs him. While apologizing, she stabs the knife into his shiny heart, while Lucas is standing at a distance with closed eyes and ears. He is regretting that he can't save his family. He is crying out loud, even though Julia is having crying spells. The next morning brings a ray of hope when Lucas is out of his trauma. Julia and Paul take him to the seashore while they are discussing the future outcomes of the traumatic past. Julia wants to adopt Lucas for now. In the meantime, Paul notices the black blood coming out of his eyes and mouth with a loud cough. Finally, he understands that he has been infected and can't make it anymore. He looks at them with remorse, but there is nothing that can't be done now. The movie ends here.
Thanks for watching. Remember to like the video and hit the bell icon to subscribe for more recaps.